this is the fascinating thing, Greg, is that I'm seeing more and more of these thinkers, some of whom were once very ardent atheists, starting to realize that they really that you need something like the Judeo-Christian principles from the Christian story to continue the kind of civilization that we think is worth preserving. Now, it's interesting, as you say, I've watched Bill Maher's sort of journey there, and he's very much gone on that same kind of Boghossian-style journey of kind of realizing that simply railing against religion, as he did, in his sort of new atheist phase, he had that documentary Religulous where he was taking the mickey out of religion and so on. But I think he's again one of these people who've realized there's something far more pernicious that I should be turning my attention to. What's interesting is I'm also coming across characters who are going further than Bill Maher and Peter Boghossian, who are coming to sort of almost embrace theism / Christianity in the process. So just this past week here in the UK, there was a big conference, the ARC conference. It stands for the Alliance of Responsible Citizens, and it's the brainchild of Jordan Peterson, who's someone I feature in the book quite a bit.
He was my next question,
and he's one of these sort of, we'll come to him, but he and many others of his ilk, both Christians and non-Christians, were put on this conference, which was basically about asking how do we respond to the progressive left and the capture of culture in that way. And one of the most fascinating, panelists that I watched on that was Aynhurst Ali. Aynhurst Ali is an ex-Muslim Somali woman who became very notable in the sort of mid-2000s for rejecting Islam, speaking out very strongly against Islam. And she very much became sort of one of the new atheist crowd. She was frequently invoked and speaking at their events and that kind of thing. And she kind of became quite an ardent atheist. She has changed her tune remarkably, because when she spoke on this panel, she talked about the fact she no longer considers herself an atheist. And she says what she's realized is that you need something like the Judeo-Christian story and the values that it is that we've inherited. That's the only kind of bulwark that really works against Islam, she's saying. And so it's fascinating when you see someone like that who's actually now kind of decided to shun the atheist label and seems to be edging towards even a kind of a Christian identity, because I've seen that happening more and more with some of these figures who I never imagined would go in that direction, but who interestingly seem to be realizing there's much more value than I ever realized in what Christianity's done for us, and people frankly just giving it a second look because of that.
It's so interesting. I wasn't aware of this regarding her. I knew she was quite a public figure, obviously, in the period that you mentioned. But notice what she's saying. She's saying it's not just theism, because she came from a theistic religion, Islam. It's not, theism is not adequate to ground everything. In principle, it's the kind of thing that's necessary, but not any old theism is going to do it, because we've seen the civil rights, human rights excesses, violations that seem to be inherent to fundamental Islam. When I say fundamental, I don't mean in a pejorative sense. I mean, this is, they follow the leader, they read the book. They take the doctrine seriously as delivered historically. They're not liberals, so to speak, in their religious convictions about Islam. But clearly, theism is not adequate. You need a particular kind of theism that is that is adequate to ground the kind of liberal values, and here I mean liberal also in the best sense of the term, that have been the hallmark of liberty and freedom in the West.